This is a little bit special, this program that we're doing today. We've got Courtney Resendiz as part of Arts Alive. And I do certainly feel that we have an art in cooking and baking and all of those good things. So Courtney is going to do something for us, something very special. She's going to do hydrangea cupcakes. And she's going to be making these for a wedding shortly. And she does do this. If anyone is interested, we can give that information at the end of the show. So why don't we start and we'll talk, she and I, as she does the cupcakes. How's that?
Okay. That's great. So I feel like cupcakes are actually a better option and a cheaper option as well for weddings.
Or showers.
Or anything like that. I just say weddings because that's mainly what I do. Because they're just so easy to go up and grab, and people can grab whatever they want if they want one with more frosting, and sometimes you can, change the elements of each and every cupcake, or the kids sometimes they want the pink one and not the blue one. So
and even if you're on a diet,
exactly,
that shouldn't be a big problem because we're not talking about a great big piece of something, which is nice.
Giant slice of cake,
right?
So I'm just going to show you a couple techniques here, Kathy, with some buttercream frosting that I've already pre-made here. I have a white frosting, has a little bit of a swirl of purple in here. Now, you can do hydrangeas in any sort of color these days. The florists have those beautiful spray paints. You can
I know. Yeah,
spray
they
paint
are
those
too.
Gorgeous colors all over the place. And we're gonna marble some colored frosting within this white frosting so we can kind of get a 3D effect, even though it's gonna be 3D, but it'll play with, it's art, right? So we're gonna play with our eyes and put some different dimensions in there. So I have this medium kind of
hydrangea color blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
It takes me back to Portugal. That's where my family's from.
Yeah, they line the streets.
That's why I love the blue one.
They line the streets.
They do.
I was there the first time in August in the Azores, and I couldn't believe it in St. Michael.
It's
gorgeous.
Just
line, and it's natural. They're a natural shrub.
I know, it is. They're so pretty. I have them in my yard too.
I do too.
Typical Portuguese person. So then I put a darker blue of that same color right in there. Now all this is just regular food safe food coloring.
I was going to say that, a little food coloring into the actual frosting.
And we're going to just start to mix this, fold it in together, but we don't want to do too much here because we do want to still see those swirls when they're in the bag with a tip on it. Okay, so now that's pretty marbleized right there, and I just have a standard, like a regular Wilton bag.
Yeah.
It has a tip on it, and it has 6 slits in it. It's a star tip, but you usually
now where would one be able to buy that?
So around here, you could go to Michael's, AC Moore. There are cake supply stores you could go to. I believe Stop and Shop and all the grocery stores start to sell them too now.
Great, yeah.
So you can find them pretty much anywhere, any craft store too. The bags as well. So we fitted that tip right in this baggie right here. And we're just gonna start to throw the buttercream frosting right in the bag.
We're gonna have these, by the way, when the show is finished.
Yes, they're gonna be delicious.
Jealous.
So I like to pick up my cupcakes too when I frost them. Just a little bit easier. And I only touch the bottom because I don't have gloves on right now, and really you're not really supposed to touch the tops. So all you do is you're gonna just squeeze and turn it, and then you can kind of see that it will start to form the hydrangea. So if you could see how my wrist is turning while I'm squeezing and then pulling off. And then you just do that in the middle as well, and you can, how
very
cute
pretty.
Is that, right?
It's adorable.
And then you're just gonna do one more layer right on top. And you can make these as big as you want, as small as you want. Sometimes, especially for weddings, you wanna make them a little bit more dramatic.
Now, how did you get started with the whole cooking thing?
So when I was younger, so my family is from the Azores, and they were always the women were always in the kitchen. My grandmother was in the kitchen. My aunts were in the kitchen all the time, and I loved that. I loved going into the kitchen, and I specifically loved the baking aspect of it. seemed really cool to me as a child. So I would go in the kitchen with them and learn how to bake and create these delicious desserts, and that's why I was a chubby little kid, but that's okay. I took those skills with me as I grew.
Right, yeah.
So then after that, in high school, I didn't go to a vocational high school. I went to Dighton Rehoboth Regional. We didn't have vocations back then. That wasn't really a thing. So
No.
right? And like back then, vocational schools were not.
Well, they weren't considered
Exactly.
necessarily on a par, but
Exactly.
that certainly has changed.
Exactly.
And thank goodness.
So I ended up telling my parents my junior year of high school, and I was an art major in high school.
Right, yeah.
So, and my favorite art class was sculpture and paint. So I took those two ideas and I started teaching myself how to make cakes. And back then we didn't have YouTube. I didn't have the computer to just go look up how to
do it.
I kind of took my sculpture skills and used that to do and to put frosting on cakes. I mean, I knew the basic skills of baking the cake and making the frosting.
Right.
But
how to decorate it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I told them. Then I went to BCC for my freshman year of college, and I started the
Culinary
arts program there, baking and pastry arts, with Chef Gloria Cabral. And it kind of just took off from there. After that, after my 2 years there, I got my associate's degree. Then I went to the New England Culinary Institute in Vermont, and I got my management degree in culinary there.
Nice.
And then I was a baking and pastry arts teacher for 4 years, and I had my master's degree in education.
There you go.
So, quick synopsis of my life.
So what are you doing now besides the TV?
So what I do now is I actually have my own business. It's called Just That Sweet, and I do a lot of specialty cakes. It's online order only basis.
Okay.
Don't have a storefront, so it's private.
Yeah.
Which makes for me to have a better relationship with clients, as well as making things as fresh as possible for those clients on an order by order basis.
By order basis, right.
I'm actually going to nursing school as well, because
Really?
I feel that I want to take the knowledge I know about food and how it can make you healthy and kind of preach that out into the world, because actually my show, A Little Sweet and Salty with Courtney, I always try and put a healthier spin on all the foods, because I mean there's so many diseases out there that can be prevented with food.
Oh, sure.
That I believe.
And controlled, I think. With
Exactly,
it too, you know?
absolutely, especially type 2, but diabetes,
Oh,
heart
yeah,
disease, all that stuff can be controlled with food or prevented as well.
Exactly.
So,
You know, the good healthy alternative to meds, if you don't really need to take them, you know?
well, I mean, think about it. All the medications, sometimes the side effects are worse than the benefit.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
You know,
definitely.
so
Yeah.
if you can eat an apple every day
Yeah.
and feel better and
Yeah.
exercise, which is great. So I kind of want to be, and I
Lose
advocate
some of that
for that.
weight, you know, that no one really needs, that extra weight.
Exactly. So that'll be good. That I can try.
That'll
and,
be just another level of.
And I was thinking, like, and everyone's like, then why didn't you just go and be a dietitian? I'm like, that's just so honed in on nutrition. I wanted to just
More
like
holistic.
be out, like a wide range of things to do. Do you know what I mean? I feel that's what nursing is about. I know it's kind of odd. Everyone's like, you're going to be a nurse? I'm like, yeah. It's chemistry. It's what I do right now.
Yeah.
Everything is chemistry with baking.
Yeah, making it,
You know?
using the ingredients and bringing them together, even mixing the colors.
Exactly. But sometimes, you know, we do use like baking soda and baking powder, and those definitely change. Because you know how when you bake, you have to follow the recipe step by step, or else it doesn't come out correctly.
I think so. Yeah, I know people that don't, but I've never been able to do anything without the recipe. No matter how often I made it, I still go back and check to make sure that, you know, this is what I remember it to be. But I know people who just, you know, they'll have something to eat, they like it, and they just try it. They just do it on their own, okay?
Now it's easier because once you get the hang of it, knowing what reacts with what, you can kind of
figure it out.
Right. So at that point in time, for me, it's easier. at least. So how about that?
How about that?
Isn't that cute?
How cute are those?
Those are super cute. So then to finish them off too, and this one I'm just gonna do a little baby guy here. So we can put him in the middle because we're out of frosting. And then to finish these guys off, what we're gonna do is, you know how hydrangeas have those little white centers? What do you call the centers of flowers? I forgot.
I'm not sure. I like them, but.
You just throw these little white pearls all over the place, and it kind of.
So pretty.
Throws a little bit of a classy, and now anybody can do this, you know, and it sometimes it takes a couple times, you know, you can scrape the frosting right off the cupcake and try again.
Exactly.
You know, that's what I used to do. Just because it looks easy for me on screen doesn't mean that I didn't practice. I still do it, especially making buttercream roses. I'll get so mad. I'll throw the rose right back in the bowl. Because it is difficult, especially when you don't do something every day. It's hard to remember how to do that skill. Right. It's not anything like muscle memory if you're doing something every single day. So these little pearls you can get at a craft store as well. They're just white, pearlescent, edible beads.
Just give it that little added touch of.
Now, wouldn't you order those for
definitely
even a baby
would.
shower? Isn't that so cute?
Very. Oh, it is. They're adorable. I was telling you before we started the program that I had them at a shower last June, actually, in New Bedford. And I thought it was such a great idea. It was the first time I'd had the cupcakes as that.
Right.
Like the little dessert or whatever. And I just thought it was such a great idea because if you don't want a lot, you don't have a lot. If you want more than one, you can take more than one.
Right.
And they look so pretty, you know, for this particular shower like these do. And I just thought it was a great idea.
And it's a good serving size too, instead of getting
exactly.
a great big piece of cake or feeling
whatever.
bad that you leave the rest of the cake on the plate. Right. You know.
Yep.
So.
No, I think cupcakes. I think, and we were saying this off camera too, that they kind of gained in popularity with Sex and the City.
Oh,
because the girls, there was a bakery in New York City that the girls would always go to, and after that, they said the bakery like really took off,
right?
Money-wise, you know, they had everyone going in there to get these cupcakes, and they were different like this. They had a little glam to them, you know. They weren't the average cupcake, and I think that's what really sort of began a popular movement.
Right, it did.
You know, to all of us of cupcakes.
I can remember 2 years ago now because I've been making cakes for 10 years. This is actually probably over 10 years. I'm like, geez, please, let's not count the years here.
You went there. I didn't go there. I don't go
I'll
there.
count the years. But I want to say it was about 2 or 3 years ago that everybody wanted cupcakes for their wedding. That was like the end all be all, because now, I mean, think about it, like I was saying to you before, some venues charge a wedding cake slicing fee, which could be $1. So then think about that. You're already paying for the wedding cake. Then you're paying for the slicing fee. And if your cake is going to feed 100 people, that's $100 extra you have to pay because they're cutting it in the back. And these, you can just go up and grab.
Go with them. Now, am I wrong, or have I seen cupcakes formed into like a cake?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you mean on tiers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually, that's what I'm doing in a couple weekends.
So, I mean, there you go.
It's really cute, too, because you can buy the bases on Amazon or whatever store you find it, and they're it's like a 12-inch, a 10-inch diameter, 8-inch diameter, and then on top, you put a little cake for the bride and the groom to slice.
Right, yeah.
And that's the actual cake part, but then that's theirs. They keep it for their 1-year anniversary, which a lot of people aren't doing anymore.
No.
I found
those
that. I was like, I usually ask. I always ask my clients too. I'm like, do you want to keep your top tier? They're like, no, it tastes bad anyway. I mean, obviously mine tastes good.
Yeah. By that time,
Yeah. By a year later, it's a little frostbite. And tastes like everything in your freezer, but yeah, that's.
Well, this was great, Courtney.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can do it again.
Yes.
And we hope you liked this segment. We plan to do more of them, and we'll be right back. Welcome everyone to Arts Alive. I'm Kathy Castro, your host for the show, and it is my pleasure today to have Jay Sotomayor, who is a photographer and a collector of photography, on with me. I've tried to get him on for a while, and I'm so happy that he was able to join us today. So welcome.
Thank you.
And why don't we, as we go on with the show, we can talk a little bit more about you and how you came to love photography and old photographs so much. And you'll have an exhibit hanging starting this month in March, and that should go through the year at City Hall, which is wonderful.
Actually, Friday the 23rd of February. But what I'm going to show you is the Cotton Centennial. It's the celebration of the 100th anniversary of the first cotton mill in Fall River. It was located on Father Kelly Park in Fall River, Mass. And at that time was actually Rhode Island. It didn't turn, the area wasn't considered Massachusetts until 1861, when the Supreme Court of Massachusetts, obtained the property. This was a huge event. I'm talking poor, rich, they were all involved. President Taft.
And what was the year? What was the year of that?
1911.
1911.
Yep, and it was between, it was between the 19th and the 24th of June of 1911.
So nearly a week of at least 5 days there of celebration.
I'm going to go through these set of photos, and I'm going to show you some of these examples of how extravagant.
That was the first mill there,
Yeah,
1811, right?
Yep, and
On
it
that
was
one?
made from Joseph Durfee.
Yep.
He was a colonel in the Revolutionary War.
Now, he must have brought that information on, I would think, on textiles, perhaps with him from England.
Yeah, I would
where they
think
had a
so.
very large textile manufacturing business, in northern England.
This photo right here is a photo of, the celebration of when President Taft was, he had a parade. It's very interesting. How
Downtown.
many people downtown.
Yep.
Okay. You could see the customs building in this photo. It's just extravagant. The flags were all out. They welcomed President Taft and all the people that, people from the surrounding areas. Boston, Fall River was, the leading textile capital of the world.
That's Main Street there.
Yep.
Now, where was that customs? Do you know where that was located?
No, this
Jay?
is Bedford Street. This is looking towards North Main Street, and that would be the Hotel Mohegan in the distance after the welcome sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one on the left, is that the custom house?
Yeah, that's the custom house. That would be the old post office.
Okay. Beautiful building. Too bad that went.
This would be the North Park Horse Show during the celebration of the Cotton Centennial. They had Arabian horses. The Bordens have Arabian horses. It was.
Well, they had a little bit of money.
Yeah. I mean, in the distance in this photo, you could see the brewery of Fall River. This photo is showing South Main Street. The old city hall's in the distance.
You can see the top of it.
Yep.
Yeah, the dome, the old city hall.
And this would be right where the Cannery building is. And, Dunkin' Donuts,
All of that now,
This is long
yeah.
gone, all these buildings.
Horse and carriage.
Yeah. Another photo of the North Park Horse Show during the Cotton Centennial. Just a random photo of a business owner. It says Paints, celebrating the Cotton Centennial. Like I said, the poor, the rich, the whole community was involved.
And great black and white photos.
Yeah. Big parade downtown Granite Block. You could see the amount of people that just came out for this. Not to mention it was 130,000 people in Fall River around
At
this
that
time. Yeah. Now this is a photo of looking straight down towards North Main Street. This would be Brady's Drug on the left, which was lost in the 1928 fire.
The fire, yeah.
But you could see how, all these people. Now this is one of my favorite. I don't know what time of the day it is, but it's probably during the morning. I would imagine. Gentlemen and standing in front of the
That looks like
academy.
the academy,
Yes,
on the right, on the left side rather.
Yep, that's what it is. A lot of these businesses are long gone. Cassett Street is up towards the right. Those buildings are gone from the 1928
Right,
fire.
yeah, yeah. That's the little park, or there was a
Yeah.
park there now, and then Cherries and McClure's
Yeah.
and went on from there.
Now this is, I think it's Bedford Street, but I'm not sure. But you could see, this is a photo of President Taft. He came to visit during the celebration of the Cotton Centennial. Another photo of President Taft in the background. People all around, you know, they all came out dressed to the T. Hats and gowns and
Oh, yeah,
long jackets.
yeah. An occasion to get dressed.
I gotta change photos, so.
Okay.
Okay, so this would be downtown, you know, Fall River, looking towards North Fall River, and you can see the old City Hall. Welcome to President Taft. Banners and flags, and you know, everything was decorated. Big event in front of the City Hall. This is another one of my favorite photos. The amount of people,
The
you
amount
know,
of people, yeah.
that were
yeah.
involved in this. You can see the old Abbey Grill steeple. Well, it's still here, but you
Right,
can see
the
it.
church,
You
yeah.
can see it.
Church of the Ascension, I
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah,
That was Lizzie Borden's church.
yeah, correct. Big, you know, the horse show at North Park. This is where all the bleachers would be. If you could see those people standing at the top.
Yeah,
You know, just extravagant photos. This would be Anawan Street, and the, you know, the small car you see in the distance would be President Taft, you know, coming up the hill. The Metacomic Mill would be on the right. That would be, you know, where Wow Gym is now.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's that, do you know what's at the bottom with the,
The steeple.
there was a, yeah,
That's American Print Works.
American Print, yeah.
Yeah,
My dad worked there for a while.
really.
Yeah. That, I think there was a fire there too, if I'm not mistaken.
That
The
would be
American
down where
Print Works.
the area where the Firestone Fire was, and
Exactly,
you know,
yeah,
and along
Down
the
in
State
that.
Pier. The State Pier would be to the right of that.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in all of this and your interest in times past, and such a young man as you.
Well, thank you. I got interested in this, you know, 3 years ago. It's been going on, and you know, I just love old things. I love history. But you know, my grandfather would tell me stories about, you know, downtown area. He would bring me down to the State Pier when I was young, you know, seeing the big boats.
Right, right.
And I had some older photos from him, and you know, I said one day I might as well post this on Facebook, and it got a lot of attention, you know. So I started, you know, posting more and
Posting more,
and then
yeah.
I decided to develop a site for it. Now we got 10,500 members.
Wow, that's
which is
great.
great, you know.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, I just, you know, I love it. You know, I enjoy doing
Where
it.
did your family come from? Where are you from originally?
My
The family?
grandmother's from Germany. My father's from New York. He's Spanish, and you know, it's a weird mixture, but yeah, that's, you know, that's my family. And
Why Fall River? What was
my
that?
grandfather's family lived here, you know, a long time ago. So they've been here probably from the 1800s. He met my grandmother in Germany as a war bride.
Oh,
Brought her
okay.
back over here, and yeah, so he was a photographer. He had a lot of photos of Germany, Fall River. So you know, I didn't think I was ever going to get involved in this, but
Here
you know,
you are.
I enjoy it. Yes, yes.
And now, did you, in school, did you have this interest in history and
Oh,
just in general, you know, beyond the photographs?
Yes, I always had an interest in history. Always, I enjoy it. I like, you know, thinking about the past. You know, looking at the photos just brings everything to life. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it does. It
You know.
brings our whole past.
Yeah.
You know, all of us who
Yeah.
live here have a chance to see what times were like,
Exactly.
what people were like in the past, and after all, that's what we descend from. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I think it is so interesting.
Oh, it is, and you know, showing some of these people, the members on that site, photos of like, you know, before and after photos, and they live right in the city. They don't realize how much of a change it was, and it's amazing to me, you know, to see all that, and and they find it very interesting too.
Well, the other thing that you post that I think are very nice too are these sort of photographs out in you know, the unknown treasures of the area,
Yeah,
natural
yes.
treasures of the area that you will often put up,
Yeah.
you know, in hikes or
Yeah.
whatever else with your children and that. I think those are lovely too.
Yes.
Of you know, look at what you're missing, sort of.
Yeah,
You're
I
not the
mean-
only one that does that, but I mean, people do it, and I think that's another friend of mine, Danny Donnelly, does that too.
Yeah.
He'll post pictures of, you know, well, look at the treasures that we have, and
people
that aren't
don't realize.
acknowledged.
Yeah,
Exactly.
People
yeah.
don't realize it.
Yeah.
Some people don't even know where it is.
No,
And,
no.
When I was, you know, a young teenager, I explored the city. It was a fun thing to do. I still love doing it. You know, I have my son doing it with me, and I know all the little nooks and crannies of the city, and always have, always did, and I still enjoy it, and I think I'll enjoy it
For the rest of your life.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so-
Now you're a painter by trade.
Yep, painter by trade. I started off painting, doing a lot of historical restorations of the Fall River area. St. Joseph's Church I'd done. A lot of the big Victorians in the Highlands. As of now, I do general contracting, you know, so it's a little bit of a change, but, you know, I enjoy all the architecture and, you know, anything to do with history.
And know a lot
you know.
about it too.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
do.
Yeah. Well, it was great to have you with us, Jay.
Thank
and
you.
hopefully you'll come back another time and we can look at another phase of Fall River and Fall River's history.
Yes, thank you.
So we thank the audience
Thank
for
you.
joining us today too.
Thank you.